everyone, Irit here with November favorites. So I want to share with you 5 products that I've really enjoyed during the month of November. But first of all, I have to start with a little Daniel Smith update. So a few days ago, I posted my first impression and unboxing of the new Daniel Smith hand-poured little sets. And I think we've had some interesting comments and some discussions. I think most of us kind of feel the same way about these sets. I had a whole list of things I wanted to add to the whole discussion of this, but I'm gonna have to start, unfortunately, with what for me is a major flaw in the design. And it pains me to say that because I really appreciate Daniel Smith paints, and I will continue to buy the tubes. But this palette, I was playing with it today. So I have the ultimate mixing set of 15 pans, and I was playing with it today. And I have to say that it has a major design flaw. So I was also made aware, I didn't really pay attention, that this part where you can in theory mix your paints doesn't lie flat, which is, yeah, less than ideal. Ideally you would like it to lie completely flat on your surface, so it doesn't do that. But what is even more disturbing is that it leaks. So if you mix here a small puddle, I didn't have here mountains and mountains of, or waves and waves of watercolors, but I just mixed here some colors, and because of the way that this is built, it just dripped and went through to the bottom of the box. Now, I had mine on my sketchbook, and when I lifted it, I saw the stain. It didn't destroy anything worth anything, but yeah, that's not good. I don't want that to happen. So I think Daniel Smith needs to deal with this, because I don't think anyone wants to have their palette dripping. There are so many other palettes that you can find, so why would you want to have one that doesn't function properly? Please, Daniel Smith, please do something about it. So having said that, you know, I don't really feel like I can recommend this, because besides the whole price issue, yeah, I just don't think it functions very nicely. But I will say the other stuff that I was gonna say anyway, and just be aware. So a lot of the people that commented, I think most of us, I think the consensus was that if you buy tube paints, if you love, as I do, if you love the Daniel Smith paint, it makes more sense and it's more economical to just buy the tubes and pour them into whichever type of palette that you use. You can buy empty half pans and empty palettes or metal tins and fill them up with paint. And I think for those of us who are used to that, it makes sense. What I thought these sets would be a great kind of introduction to the Daniel Smith line for people who maybe are not familiar with it or feel a bit intimidated about having a selection of 260 colors, or how many that they have, that comes in tubes that are expensive. So for those people, I thought these sets would be great. And if they made the palette better, then I could wholeheartedly say that. But for now, and okay, a couple other things I wanted to talk about regarding the set. I will put a timestamp for when the actual favorite parts begins if you want to skip to that. I mentioned, you know, my thumbnail of the video is if this palette is worth $100. That's the price that I found in the shop where I buy my watercolors, which is Jackson's Art. They are based in the UK, although I have received some of their packages from Sweden. So I don't know where they keep their stuff, but yeah, they're in the UK, I'm in Europe. Daniel Smith is an American company. It makes sense that it would be cheaper in the US, and especially if you can find a good sale, like someone mentioned at Blick Art Supplies. If you can find these on a good sale, then they won't cost you $100, they will cost you less. So I just want to make that clear, that the price that I refer to is the one that is available to me. Here in Europe, I have rarely ever seen any sales on Daniel Smith, and if they are on sale, it's a very, very, very small discount. But, you know, I'm guessing that here it's cheaper to get the European brands, so yeah. And as for the smaller sets, the thing is to keep that in mind, and this is correct for all pan versus tube paint. Paint and tube, as far as I can see from all the brands that I've tried, if you buy the tube, you get more paint for your money. So the tubes are more economical. And the thing is, let's say you have $50 to spend on watercolors. So with those $50, you can buy more half pans than you can buy tubes of paint. You know what I mean? So you can have more colors, but less paint, and it's a less economical choice. But you can still get more colors for the same amount of money. So I hope that makes sense. Now with the Daniel Smith, they have these different sets that, you know, I've seen different opinions. Personally, I like the way that they built these sets. I think they are unique and not the traditional, you know, introductory set and then add a few more basic colors and then add a few more basic colors. It has each of these 6 half pans set have kind of a theme to them. And the thing about them is that they vary in value, because some of the paints are more expensive than others. And so some sets are better value because they're all priced the same as far as I have seen. So for example, there is a beautiful set, the blue set, and I'll put a picture here. And that set, for example, it has a color in it called Sleeping Beauty Turquoise, and it is as a magical color as it sounds. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous turquoise. The tube, it only comes, Daniel Smith only makes it in 15 ml tubes that in Europe cost $28 for one tube of paint. Now, true that it will last you a long, long time, but yeah, I have yet to been able to take that step and spend $28 on one tube of paint. Now, I do want to say that I have found a very close dupe in the Schmincke range, and the Schmincke one is called Cobalt Green Turquoise, if I'm not mistaken, and it's very, very similar to the Daniel Smith one. All that aside, so the blue set that costs $30-something in the US, like $33, I think someone said, has a half pan of Sleeping Beauty Turquoise, and then 5 more colors, which will also cost you somewhere between $7 and $14 or something for like the smaller tubes. So there is no way that you can get to have those 6 colors in your stash for that price if you want them in tubes. Again, getting them in tubes is more economical, but if you want to get tubes of those 6 colors, it will cost you a lot more than the set. So if you want to try out some of these more unique colors, then yes, those small sets are a good option. As for the basic sets, like the Sketcher set and I think the Ultimate Mixing one, you're probably better off buying an empty palette and filling in your own colors. Some of them are basic, some you can get from, you know, whichever brand you want, and then maybe get the Daniel Smith unique paints. I hope that made sense, and that's all I want to say about that. So let's move on to the favorites. Okay, I'll start with something that is so boring and yet So very exciting. So I showed this also in my Daniel Smith paint and then in my Daniel Smith review. And this is basically, I got this at my art store, and then some people helped me figure out that even though this particular product has been discontinued, you can find something that does the same thing. So this is like a pump water bottle, and basically it releases a continuous spray of water. So if, like me, you have a larger palette that you like to get it nicely re-wetted before you start painting, this thing makes life so much nicer and so much easier. And instead of like going and spraying like 100 times on your palette, you just go with one continuous spray. Now, as I've said, I got a comment, maybe you can still find this if you're in Europe, but I don't know. I found something very similar on Amazon that is actually meant for hair design, which I never do, so I'm not familiar with all that stuff. But basically, it gives you that continuous spray of water. So I'm going to put a link. I think the one on Amazon costs $15. If you have a large palette and you mostly use, you know, re-wetted paint, you're gonna love me. So enjoy, you're welcome. I absolutely love this. I had it in my room for like a year, and only recently I picked it up and I didn't even know what it did. I just wanted a spray bottle, and then I discovered the magic. So yeah, really, really great for re-wetting watercolors. Moving on to my next favorite this month. I went back a bit to sketching, and I say went back because I used to do a lot of sketching, and then in the last weeks I've been more focused on just watercolors. But I did return a little bit to sketching, and this pen is just beautiful. So I'll show you a close-up, but this is, it's called Sailor Japan. I don't think it's called Sailor Japan. It's called Sailor something. I'll put a link to everything. But this is how it looks. And let's see, get the camera to focus. So you can see that it has this really interesting tip. And you can get, as you can imagine, a large variety of thickness of lines. And it's very nice. It has like this screw top. Yes, it's green. What can we do? Can't have everything perfect. But it's a really, really beautiful pen, and the ink that it comes with is water soluble, which I actually enjoy many times to sketch with this and then go over with water and just release some of the ink. But you can also buy, I'll show you. You can buy an ink converter, so it looks like this, and then you can use whichever ink you want in the pen. So you can choose, you know, whatever color you want, and also choose waterproof ink. It's a beautiful pen. I have been really enjoying it. So another good favorite of this month. Next, I got these two brushes. So I've said it like a million times already in the last videos. I've been taking Angela Fehr's watercolor mastery class, which I absolutely love and highly recommend. It's closed now for registration because it's a live class. It will reopen in the spring if you're interested to take your watercolor game to the next level. Anyway, she has been using a lot of like these sword type of brushes, sword, loose goose, dagger brushes. I don't know, they have different names. This one says stored on it. Now, the problem that I have with those brushes is that most of them, at least the ones that I've seen, are made from animal hair, which I don't purchase anymore for ethical reasons. And that means that I wanted a synthetic alternative. And I got a recommendation. Thank you so much for the person who recommended this to me. I bought these at Ken Bromley's in the UK. And these are by Pro Art. And they are their sword 9A sword brushes. So this is how they look. I got the medium one and the small one. I prefer the small size. That's how they look. And that's the tip. And when I first got them, so they looked kind of synthetic and not in the good way. But first of all, they were very, very soft. The fibers are very soft. And once I started using them, I will show you hopefully a close-up. I love them. So if you're also, I'm also guessing because it's synthetic hair, it's probably cheaper than the natural hair, the animal hair brushes. I'm really enjoying them. For me, they get the job done. I can get a really fine line, and I especially like the small one because I mostly use these for like detail work. But obviously, you know, with the medium one, and there's another size, a larger one, you can get like more coverage. So yeah, I've been really enjoying these, and I'm happy that I found them. Links to everything below. Am I now down to the last? No, the last will be my favorite colors of the month. But I wanted to mention this. If you're familiar with this from Schmincke, so these are these powders that they have these in several shades. I have the rich pale gold. It's called the Aqua Bronze Turquoise. Anyway, it's basically like a powder, like a metallic powder, and you can add it to your watercolors, and it's beautiful. Yeah, you can just mix it with water, and then it's kind of like a metallic paint, and it's beautiful, and I enjoy it. But what I also enjoy using, it's kind of more of a craft supply, and it is the Ken Oliver liquid metals, and I have a set of these. They come in sets, and then you can also purchase them individually. I have a set, and this one in particular is my favorite this month. It's the metallic saffron, which is kind of like a gold color, and you can kind of drip. It comes with in a little like squeezy tube, and that's the tip of it, and you can just like drop it into your painting directly, or you can drop it into your palette. And what I love about it is when you, I think it does a bit, it has a bit a different effect from the Schmincke powder, in that when you kind of splatter it into moist paint, the color doesn't stay completely true, so you still get like all the glitter and shimmer of this, but it also mixes with the color that was moist underneath, like the base color that you kind of splattered it on. And I thought that created a really, really beautiful effect. So I've been really enjoying these. I have no idea how, you know, age resistant or fade resistant or light fast these things are. I don't know. They are acid free, so they won't, you know, get your painting discolored or something like that, but it's a craft product, so I'm guessing the standards are not as high as artist grade products. I have no idea. I know it looks great and I love using it, so take this information and make your own informed decisions. And the last item for today is my pick of favorite color of the month. This was very tough because I always use many colors and I love many colors, but I think this month I particularly was drawn to the color Indanthron blue. Hopefully I didn't butcher that. The pigment is PB60. It is a very, very kind of deep inky blue. It's kind of more blue than indigo. I will show you some swatches so you can see. The one I have currently is from Daniel Smith, and I also have actually one from Schmincke. Now Schmincke, it's interesting because as preparation for this video, I was looking through their catalog, and they actually have two Indanthron blue paints. One is called Delft Blue and the other one is called Deep Blue. I've only have the Delft Blue, and I think that's very similar to the Daniel Smith one. If I can find it, I will show you a comparison. But both the versions, like the Schmincke one and the Daniel Smith one, are beautiful. I don't have the deep blue from Schmincke, so I don't know the difference. It's a beautiful color. I feel like it has a really nice depth to it. It might be an interesting alternative to indigo, even though I think the Schmincke indigo is really beautiful. A lot of the other brands that I tried, I feel like indigo is very, very kind of muted, and I think the Schmincke indigo is much deeper and more interesting and less dead. Anyway, and then the Indanthron blue is an even more kind of bluish, deep, inky color. I love it. So that was a winner this month for me. And that's it. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions. Feel free to add your own favorites at the moment, what you're loving, and you know, if I don't have it, maybe I will check it out, because you know, we all love getting some new art supplies. So thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a wonderful day. Bye.